Okay, so I am on the ATG Roman Chair. I'm 5'9", 165 pounds. I have it set to the middle one here, and as you can see, my hips just barely clear this resting pad here, and I have 4 holes showing here. So you can see my settings on the ATG Roman Chair, and I'm going to take my shirt off so you guys can get a better glimpse of what is happening with my body here. Okay, so when I go down here, this right here is the position where I don't really have a stutter. So you can see what my posture is here. My hips are in a posterior pelvic tilt. Okay, my glutes are activated here, and my shoulders are rounded. My shoulders are not back. My shoulders are rounded here, and as you can see here, this position, it stacks my rib cage over my pelvis. Okay, and that's going to help a lot when I go to breathe and then when I go to speak. Okay, so this right here is the posture that I need to somehow replicate, but standing up on solid ground against the force of gravity. Okay, so this is the position that helps me breathe better and stutter less. Okay, so I'm going to come out of it here. Okay, and once again, you can see that when I come down like this, the angle of my body, my shoulders, gravity is help pulling down my shoulders so they're not back. And once again, my rib cage is stacked right over my pelvis, and I'm in a posterior pelvic tilt. Okay, so I'm not like this, I'm like this, which is the opposite of when I try to stand and speak. I'm normally in an anterior pelvic tilt. Okay, so this is the position. Okay, so we can see by the video how the Roman Chair, how it stacks my posture. Okay, and so you guys can get a better glimpse, I'm gonna have to take off my shirt so you guys can see what is really going on under the hood here. Okay, so this is my body here. Now, I've been doing a lot of work in the past 4 or 5 months with the Roman Chair and various other types of exercises. So before I get into that, so you can see my body here. Okay, so this is how I stand up. Okay, to me, this feels like it's normal, like I'm standing up straight. I'm not trying to slouch. Okay, but as you can see here, my ribs are flared, and you can see a crease on my back from when I just normally stand up. Okay, so on the Roman Chair, when I'm on a 45, my ribs are down. They're not flared. My back is not in extension. My back is in flexion. Okay, so this is flexion. It's rounded. This is extension. Now, whenever your back is in extension, it puts you into the fight or flight mode. Okay, it's going to raise your blood pressure, raise your heartbeat, and it's also going to tighten up your psoas or your hip flexors, and that's not good, especially when you're trying to speak. So we need to stack our rib cage over our pelvis without the rib cage being flared. You can see that my ribs are flared more on my left side than on my right. Okay, so it's flared more on my left than my right, and that's because you don't have as many organs under the left side of your lungs than as you do with the right side of your lungs. On the right side, you have your liver that sits right below the lungs. So your left side, there's more empty space there. So your left side is going to be flared more. Okay, so when I normally speak, I speak in this stance with my right leg back and my left leg forward. Okay, this, me being a righty, this is going to give me a lot more control and power, whether I'm playing sports or whatnot. If I hit, I'm like this, so I can turn my hips when I throw. I can turn my hips. But when I go to speak, since my left rib is flared more, I'm breathing in, and this is going to become a problem. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch my stance to a right neutral bow, and so my right foot is forward and my back and my left leg is back. Okay, and then I'm going to crunch down. Okay, I'm going to use my abdominal muscles, particularly the internal obliques and the external obliques. That's going to pull my rib cage down and lock it down, and then I'll use the six-pack muscles, which is the rectus abdominis. Once it's locked in with the internal obliques, then I'll use the rectus abdominis to latch down the rib cage so that we create a piston. Okay, so this is not a piston. This is a piston now. You see, this is straight, and now with this being straight, I have two diaphragms. I have one diaphragm here and my pelvic floor diaphragm. And when I create the cylinder, both of the diaphragms are going to be parallel to one another. Okay, like we see up on the screen here, not like this. So I have an anterior pelvic tilt. So my hips, this is a neutral, an anterior pelvic tilt is this, so my hips are going down and my ribs are flared, my ribs are going up. So I have this like that and this like that. And when this diaphragm is up and my pelvic floor diaphragm is down, there's no way that the two of them can work in a synergy to provide the internal abdominal pressure that I'm going to need, along with the diaphragm, to propel breath or my voice back up. Okay, so in order to create the piston, I'm going to need to lock down, or first I'm going to need to shift my hips from an anterior tilt to a posterior tilt. Now I'm exaggerating and I'm going towards the posterior tilt because I'm so far anterior tilted. I just want to shove it into a posterior tilt. In case I come out of it, then I'll go to neutral. If I come out of it again, I'll go back to the anterior. So I really want to exaggerate, going to the posterior. And now with my rib cage, I need to use my abdominal muscles to pull down the rib cage to get it to lock so it creates a cylinder. So in order to pull these ribs, especially the lower ribs down, these flared ribs, I'm going to have to use my internal or my transverse abdominis, which is like a corset. Next, I'm going to use my internal and external obliques to lock down my lower ribs. Okay, and then once I have those locked down, then I'm going to use the rectus abdominis, which are your six-pack muscles right here, to lock down the whole thing. Now, once it's locked down, okay, this is going to be like right here, this area right here. Once I lock this down, it's basically like a pneumatic lock. And now, once I force all the air out, and now breathe through my nose, you'll be able to see the back of my lungs fill up with air. Okay, so that just allowed me to get a full breath of air right there, which if I was like this and I breathed in, I just breathe in to the top of my diaphragm. My diaphragm is stuck now. It's not able to slide down, and the only air I have is up here in the top of the chest. And the only way that I can get that out is if I use my pecs or the muscles in my neck to propel those words out. Okay, so that's the reason why I experience a lot of the stuttering blocks in the first place, is because my diaphragm, I'm not diaphragmatically breathing. My ribs are flared, my pelvis is anterior tilted. So I have a huge open space here that my diaphragm can't, your diaphragm is like a parachute or an umbrella, and the outer edges go down the sides of this straight line. But if this line isn't straight, if it's curved in the back, and then if it's flaccid or convex on this side, then the diaphragm can't slide down. Okay, so that's something that you need to fix with your hips. I needed to take it from an anterior to a posterior, and then I needed to use my abs to lock down my rib cage. Okay, now if I don't use my abs, then I have to bend over to like right there, and I'll get my arms out of the way so you can see how far I have to bend over in order to stack my ribs over my pelvis, so that I create a cylinder, so that when I breathe now, my diaphragm is going to go straight down and then straight back up. Okay, and also when I make my core like this, like a piston, I'm also able to create intra-abdominal pressure. Okay, so when I breathe in the right way, my diaphragm is going to push down, and it's going to push down. It's going to pressurize my abdomen. Okay, so it's going to push down all my guts, my intestines, which is good because you want that for digestion. Okay, so your diaphragm is it's a strong muscle in the body that I don't really use a lot. So you definitely want to use it. And you definitely want to create that intra-abdominal pressure, because when it goes down, it pressurizes your abdomen. So it's gonna decompress your back. It's gonna push out the lordosis that I have here. But if you don't diaphragmatically breathe, then you're gonna be a lot of pain. You're gonna have all sorts of lower back pain. And it's just going to be so hard to talk. So I'm going to make some more of these videos, but the main thing is to create a piston with your core, so that you can generate the intra-abdominal pressure, and you can use your diaphragm in the right way to speak, instead of trying to rely on the secondary breathing or respiratory muscles, which involve your pec and your scalenes and the sternomastoid. So I'm going to do some more of these videos and get into much more detail. So thanks for watching. I'll see you guys on the next one.